Hello, amazing humans. You are going to love this foundational movement. It's a simple one, but it lays the foundation for so many of the other movements. And it really gives you the best bang for the buck. It's super simple to do. You can do it pretty much anywhere, in your car, sitting at the movie theater, in an airplane, pretty much anywhere you're sitting, you can do this slow, gentle movement and get immediate relief from any back pain or neck pain or even shoulder pain too. So this foundational movement is simply rolling the pelvis backwards and rolling the pelvis forward. Now, why this movement of rolling backwards and rolling forward is so important is because our pelvises are connected to our legs, are connected to our spine, is connected to our neck, is connected to our head, is connected to our ribs, is connected to our shoulder. The more freedom of movement you have in your pelvis, the more freedom of movement you have pretty much in your entire body. And once you've explored this movement of simply rolling backwards and forwards, you can start to add on all the other connections that your brain needs for better coordination, balance, and for relief of all the back pain. So I like to think of the pelvis like a giant ball that can actually roll in 3 dimensions. But for this movement, we're just going to roll our pelvis back and forward. And as you're doing this movement, you'll be able to bring your brain's attention to not just your pelvis, but your spine, your legs, your shoulders, your neck, your head, and your brain is going to have a better understanding of how all of these different parts are connected and how they can work more efficiently with less pain. So in your chair with your hands comfortably somewhere on your thighs, feet comfortable distance apart, think of your pelvis like a giant ball that can roll backwards a little bit more onto your tailbone and roll forward, so you're sticking your tailbone out behind you and your tummy comes forward. So rolling backwards, the tummy tucks in, rolling to put more pressure onto the tailbone, and rolling the pelvis forward, tummy comes forward, tailbone sticks out behind you. And just repeat this movement nice and slow. Remember, we're going for quality of movement over quantity of movement. We want to remind our brains that we actually have a pelvis that can move in all sorts of different directions and that it's connected to other body parts. So many of us who sit for too long or do a lot of computer work end up having the pelvis curled under like this, and our brains simply fall into a habitual pattern, a habitual movement loop. And what this movement is doing of simply rolling forward on your pelvis and backwards is reminding your brain that your pelvis can actually move in all sorts of different directions. So as you're doing this movement, rolling a little bit backwards, more pressure onto your tailbone, a little bit forward, showing your tailbone off behind you, just notice what other parts of your body are moving as you're doing this movement. So how far up your spine are you feeling the movement? How much awareness does your brain have of your pelvis being connected to all the other body parts? Now you might just feel some of the vertebrae of your lower back moving and maybe not much movement in your middle back or your upper spine, and that's totally normal. Just notice what's true for you. How much movement can you feel traveling up the length of your spine as you're rolling your pelvis back and you're rolling your pelvis forward? And just pause for a moment and feel. Is there anything different about how you're sitting now? Is there anything different about how you're breathing? And now do the same movement of rolling backwards to put more pressure onto your tailbone and rolling your pelvis more forward to lift your tailbone off the chair. But this time start to add in your head. So as you roll backwards to put more pressure onto your tailbone, take a look down in between your feet. And as you roll your pelvis forward, gently and slowly take a look upwards towards the ceiling. And then roll your pelvis backwards, looking down towards the floor. And roll your pelvis forward, looking up towards the ceiling. And keep repeating this movement nice and slow so your brain has the time to feel and notice anything different. And can you feel more of your spine participating in this movement? How much more of your spine is moving when you're adding in the movement of the head? So rolling your pelvis back, looking down, curling into a little ball, and then rolling your pelvis forward, looking slowly up, arching your back gently. And as you're doing this movement, think of what can you let go of that doesn't need to be a part of this movement. Can you let go of any tension in your shoulders? Can you let go of any tension in your jaw, in your tongue, in your toes? Can you bring your brain's awareness to simply rolling pelvis forward, taking a look up, and rolling your pelvis downwards, taking a look down, and just letting go of any extra tension that just doesn't need to be a part of the movement. That's excellent. And then you can just come back to your neutral and rest and just notice, is there something different about how you're sitting? Is there something different about how you're breathing? Maybe the way your shoulders are hanging, maybe how tall you're sitting. And then simply go back to the original movement of rolling the pelvis backwards, tucking that tailbone underneath, and then rolling the pelvis forward, sticking your tailbone out behind you, and just feel now how much more of your spine is moving with the movement. How much more flow do you have? Can you do the movement slow enough and gentle enough that it feels good? Not going to your maximum, just keeping it nice and flowy. That's excellent. You can go back to your neutral and just rest. And congratulations, you just learned the easiest movement that you can do pretty much anytime, anywhere, and feel the immediate changes in how your pelvis, your spine, your head is connected, letting go of any extra tension, grounding yourself, calming yourself. It really is a one-stop shop movement. But stay tuned because we're going to be adding more variations onto it and waking your brain up to the possibilities and options to even more pain-free movement. So we'll see you in the next video, okay? Bye.